Welcome to Sensational Living with Liliana. I hope you've had a fantastic week. I'm really looking forward to sharing this recipe with you. It's really easy and absolutely delicious for an everyday meal or for a festive meal because we can decorate it up. Now, I went to the store this morning and of course, I think about what I'm going to do almost the day I'm going to do it. I just go to see what is, the freshest, the wildest. And today I had kind of my heart set on some Dover sole, but I guess it's not in season. So I opt for rockfish. I didn't even never heard of it before. Actually, this is the first time I'm actually going to use this. But the nice thing about it, it's wild and it's from Canada, so it's going to be just awesome. I'm also going to do a really nice fennel. Fennel, it has, a lot of people shy away from fennel because it's got kind of a licorice flavor to it, but actually when you cook it, it's really mellow and it's just absolutely beautiful. And then I'm going to make some julienne green beans, and so it's going to be just really beautiful. Again, I always accompany everything with a live salad. I won't be featuring that today, but let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is all going to come together really pretty quickly, honestly, so you kind of want to be prepared. I put the oven on just so that we can keep anything warm that we're using, but you're going to want to basically cook it, plate it, and serve it. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with, so what I did is I blanched some almonds. So I think I'm going to just really quickly show you how to do this. This is the easiest thing in the world. So again, this is just some slivered almonds, and I like to get organic so that it doesn't have any glyphosates on them, which are very toxic. And I'm going to just put a little bit of ghee in here. And this reminds me of my father because we used to have an almond tree, and my father used to always roast almonds, but he kept them whole. But since we're going to create this to be just a beautiful, delicate meal, I've got them slivered, so you can have them whether slivered or they can just be sliced in half as well. So let's go ahead and get that nice and warm. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start the fennel, because we can always just cook it just almost to perfection, and then we can turn it off and then reheat it when everything is going. Okay. So I'm excited because I have a friend of mine coming over today, and we've known each other for about 35 years, and he's a pescatarian, so I'm doing this dish in honor of him. It's amazing how quickly so many years go by, and it was really interesting. I was over my girlfriend's house the other night, and we were just kind of brainstorming, and I saw in her diary one of the topics because she is a psychologist, a spiritual psychologist, and I saw one of the topics she had was hungry for intimacy. And I thought, wow, that is a fantastic topic. So many of my patients, when I start doing a lot of emotional work with them, I really realize the lack of connectedness they have in their life. Now, when you think of intimacy, many people think of intimate relationships as far as male and female, but really intimate is just being present. Being able to talk to somebody about your true feelings, not having to, have a facade of what you think they want to hear or conversations that are shallow. It's really being able to bare your soul and have people really hear you and you hear them. And so I'm going to do a topic on that, hungry for intimacy, because I find that really a fantastic topic that all of us really need to connect more with intimacy just with ourselves. One of the things that I love to do just for my own intimacy, personal, is when I'm sitting down watching TV, I just do a little bit of acupressure on my feet. And there's 72,000 nerves at the bottom of your feet. So when I'm sitting there watching TV and kind of basically zoning out, I'm able to kind of feel around my feet and see what areas are tender. So that's being self-serving to myself. That's me creating intimacy with myself. And so again, don't waste a single moment, because if we don't fulfill our needs, who will, or who will know how? So we're going to let this get going now. One thing about these almonds is you don't want them to brown too much, but you just want to get them a nice golden brown. And I'm going to put a little teeny bit of, since we're going to be doing fish, I love this Aloha fish sauce. You can only get it over the internet. When I was at Kauai, I found it a couple of years ago, and I'm absolutely in love with it. It's organic. So just because we're going to feature this fish, I'm going to add a little bit of this Aloha sauce at the end. Now at the same time, then you can turn that off if you want. You can make it just right there. My oven's popping noises. Now, again, you want to get this on Amazon, because I've not been able to find it in any grocery store at all. So, again, you will love it. They've got all kinds of wonderful rubs, and so it is awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple tablespoons of coconut oil in here. And so these green beans really aren't going to take much time. because what I've done is I've taken a pound of green beans and I've julienned them up really small. So a lot of times I just steam my vegetables because since my diet is a higher fat diet, I don't like to adulterate the fats. And so I tell my patients, use very little oil when you're cooking and save that oil for when the food comes off so that you don't oxidize it. Today we're going to be using it in cooking probably a little bit more generous than I normally would. So when you steam it, you don't need to do any oil while you're cooking, so that's one of my favorite ways to actually cook any of my vegetables, because I'm able to retain a lot of the minerals and just steam it to absolute perfection. So we'll see how good I can multitask here. You know, that's one thing you got to be careful for. You know, you get going too fast, the next thing you know, you got things that are burning. So believe me, I've done it a million times. So I'm going to go ahead and let that go there. I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the, you know, again, these are really good in a wok, but I've got this really wonderful Salad Master pan. It's what we call surgical grade steel, so it doesn't leach out any kind of heavy metals in your food, which is awesome. I got another one over there tonight. On what we call ab-living when you're doing live is awesome. So you can see these are starting to get a little brown. I'm going to just turn them right off because I don't want them to get too brown, because then they'll be too crunchy and we don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and just add just a teeny bit of salt to this, just a tad, not much, and I'm going to add a little bit of this aloha spice. Now, of course, you're going to want to have these pulled down, so I'm just going to set them aside. I've already made them, pre-made them, and keep the butter to it. Don't let it drain out, because that'll just really accompany the fish absolutely beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and just put that there. Okay. And I am going to go ahead and actually, you know, you want to actually lay them out flat. So don't really put them in a bowl because they're going to get soggy, and we don't want that. We want them nice and crisp. So you want to lay them out flat. So I'm going to go ahead and put them on this plate here. Then you can just set them aside. I'm going to keep that butter in there because I'm going to use this pan as well to cook my fish. So you can see here they're just a beautiful golden brown. They're not too brown. You don't want them to be too brown. So that is just perfect. And why not go ahead and keep the butter, because we're going to be using ghee as well. So we're going to go ahead and set that aside and just lay them out flat so that they can cool down and they'll get crispy. Now, I often use nuts as my protein choice because I like having vegetarian meals at night. It's a little easier for digestion. So I've always got some nuts, whether they are some pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, that I might dry roast them in some gluten-free tamari sauce, or some almonds. So it's just really nice to have that crunch when you're doing vegetarian food. You know, you're not having any meat in it. You kind of want something that's really grounding, and you know, you want to chew into it. So this is really a great alternative. So I'm going to go ahead and set those over there. So we're just going to let those cook. They're doing good. I'm going to keep them on low. So the fish is super easy. Now what I'm going to use is I'm going to use coconut flour. Now 2 tablespoons of coconut flour is approximately about 4 carbohydrates compared to a regular grain flour or even a gluten-free flour, which is going to be about 27 carbohydrates to 2 tablespoons. So about 1/4 of a cup. So the thing about coconut and almond, because they have some moisture, oftentimes that crust can fall off of your chicken or your fish or whatever it is you're making. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to add 1/4 cup of coconut, and I'm adding 1 tablespoon of a gluten-free flour. It's called 1-to-1 by Bob Mills, and that's going to just make it so that it binds just perfectly without increasing the carbohydrates too much. So let's go ahead and take our plate. Now you probably won't even need all of this flour mixture, and so, but we want to be better safe than sorry. So I've got about a 1/4 of a cup there, and then 1 tablespoon there. Just going to give it a little whirl. I'm going to add a little salt and pepper, and of course I only use real salt, so this is Himalayan rock salt. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to salt and pepper the fish a little teeny bit, and I'm going to add a little pepper to this as well. The other day when I was at my girlfriend's house, the same girlfriend, Virginia, that I saw that beautiful topic, you know, and she was amazed because we left work around 6 o'clock, and she says, okay, let's stop and get some protein. for dinner. I had brought in a salad to share. And she was amazed. I walked in, grabbed some salmon, grabbed some liver, grabbed some broccoli, grabbed some herbs, and off we went to her house. And in 30 minutes, we had a fantastic meal. And she was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I said, yeah, it's just that easy. You don't have to sit there and, take hours to try to prepare a meal or even think for hours on how to prepare a meal. Look and see what is fresh, what is seasonal, what's available, what is wild, and have some fun. Okay, where is my little fish? Here we are. Okay, so we're just going to put about, I'd say, a good teaspoon of the Aloha fish spice. Get that all nice and mixed in well. Set that there. Now I've got my fish over here. So you're going to want to salt and pepper it just a bit. Not too much because I've got salt in the flour, but just enough because this little white fish sometimes doesn't have a whole lot of fat, so oftentimes it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor, but this is going to be packed with an amazing flavor. You're just absolutely going to love it. So go ahead and give that a little flow. Let's do it on both sides. So I'm excited. Next week I'm going to Hollywood, and I've been invited to go and speak for West Coast Weekly. And so it's going to be fun. I'm going to get to talk about the ketogenic diet and how we apply it in our clinic. So it'll probably be aired in a couple of weeks, so I'll post it on my Facebook when we're going to do that as well. All right, how are these green beans coming along? They look nice and they're glistening. Let me just have a little bit of, oh, they're still firm. All right, we're going to let them go a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to just dust this fish. And you're going to want to shake off any excess. I'm going to go ahead and use this. Yeah, my daughter, she called me up in panic. She says, oh, Mom, I used coconut flour only on my chicken. All of the crust came off. And I said, well, the trick is just add 1 tablespoon of gluten-free flour and it will be absolutely perfect. Trial and error. There's no failure in cooking. It's just feedback and how you can do it better next time. Look at how nicely that just comes on and cooks beautifully. And as you can see here, we're really not using that much. There's going to be a whole lot left over here. So you could probably reduce that amount. And since this fish is a thin fish, this is going to feed 4 people. It's about 1 3/4 pounds. So maybe, let's say 4 ounces per fillet. That would be a good number there. Okay. Lots of pans going in here. Garlic, my lemon, we don't need these anymore. So before I do the fish, I'm going to go ahead and put the fennel together. And so again, the fennel is, I love fennel. You can have it in salads. It's really not licoricey once you get in there. It's just a really beautiful, delicate flavor. And I buy it organic. They have fennel at Trader Joe's, but it's not really organic. So I go to Sprouts or to Mother's to get it because I want to have all my food organic as possible. Today I bought the lemons that were organic because I'm going to use the zest and the rind. And a lot of times I tell patients, they kind of complain sometimes that organic foods can be very expensive. And I said, well, you need to go to your local farmer's market. You need to really ask them because oftentimes they themselves, the farmers, it's as organic as they can be. They're not FDA regulated, but they don't use pesticides on them. So you ask them, how they grow their foods and what kind of, fertilizers they use. And so a lot of times things like lemons, I don't do organic because it's got a hard shell on it. And so a peel on it. So when you are doing a zest and you're actually going to use the lemon rind, then I would definitely go organic on that, okay? All right, so let's see what we got going here. I'm going to put a little bit of ghee in here. Again, I'm going to go ahead and turn off these green beans, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to them. So I like using ghee over butter when I'm cooking because of the fact that it has a really good high heat point to it, and it's not going to get black on me like normal butter does because of the casein in it and the way, and it burns very quickly. So I love using this. It's just awesome. I'm going to go add a little bit of Himalayan rock salt here. I love Tibetan salt. I love Celtic salt, real salt, dulse, which is awesome for salads. It's got high iodine in there. All right. A tad more. I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper. It's gonna be really yummy, especially with those nice toasted almonds on it. It's just gonna be awesome. I love eating, as you can see. Everybody in my family, all my friends, we love to eat. My friend Michael, as I said, he's a chef himself too. He's a pescatarian. So we're always kind of, when it comes to visit, trying to make the best vegetarian food we can so we can impress him. All right, so actually I need to get, I was gonna put a little turmeric in here, but I'm gonna add a little. I'm not gonna add it because it's not out here. All right. I was gonna put a little turmeric in here. You can do that. Turmeric is a pretty strong flavor, and I like it because it's a high and anti-inflammatory. So I may jump out of the camera for 1 second and go grab it. We'll see. If I send Landy into my cupboard, she might not find it. Every time I send my husband into my cupboard, he's standing there looking at all the spices, and he's like, I can't find it. And I go, all right, get out of it. And I walk in and I just grab it, right? So, yeah, you can try to find it. Turmeric.
In there?
Yeah. A woman's got to have a pantry, but it's funny, as cooks, right, Michael? It's like you know exactly where everything is, even if it's all kind of jumbled in there. All right, so we'll get that going good. Yeah, light might help. And what's nice about fennel, it softens up. All right, she's got me my turmeric. Okay, so now probably what I would have done if I had it out is I would have put the ghee down, and then I would have put the turmeric and just toasted it just a little bit, just to open it up, the aromatic smell and flavors to it. But I'm just going to go ahead and just add a few sprinkles. I don't want to overpower this because I don't want it to really overpower this really delicate fish, but just enough to give it some color. I love turmeric for the fact that we can get some nice color out of it. Let's see if we have any turmeric in here. Barely. Well, Andy, you might need to go get another one, but let's see. I think this might be good. Just to give it a little fun. When I was in Turkey, I bought some really cool turmeric. I think I even still have it in there. That's good enough. That's perfect. That just got a little yellow to it. We don't want to overpower it. And really, I just put a few sprinkles in there, so you don't need a whole lot. So don't get too ambitious with it being an anti-inflammatory. Unless you want to. I love making turmeric tea. I do a turmeric, ginger, and peppercorns, and I cook it for about 5 minutes with about 5 quarts of water. Let it sit for about 5 hours, and then I put 2 fresh lemons in there, and I just kind of jar them up in 3/16 ounces, and I love it because it's an excellent anti-inflammatory. So I recommend that highly to my patients that have immunity, their immune system is compromised. All right, that looks perfect. So give it just enough color, so it's not super yellow, but it's got just a really kind of golden color to it. I'm going to add a little teeny bit of pepper. We'll add a little bit of salt to it as well. So probably about a teaspoon. And of course, you always can correct the salt for those people who like it less salty. I'm kind of a salty person. When you have a ketogenic diet, you have a tendency to crave salt more because, when you are producing ketones, ketone proteins are a bit acidic. And so when you're in a more kind of have some acidity, your body pulls more minerals, and you have a tendency to want to excrete them. So oftentimes patients will, urinate a whole lot more than they ever did because they're excreting these excess ketones. So it's really important to stay hydrated. And when I talk about staying hydrated, I don't mean coffee and things that have caffeine in it. Things that are herbal teas and or water really help to hydrate your cells. And again, don't just chug down. You want to sip throughout the day so that you have a more cellular hydration. So I'm also really excited that we are going to have our Keto Kickstart Club activated today. So after we do the show, we are going to put a little button there for you to sign up as an early bird registration. We're really only going to take about 32 people through this, our beta group, and we're going to teach you how to create a keto lifestyle. And you know, what does that mean? How do I apply it? You know, so many people have so much misunderstanding about a keto lifestyle in regards of their diet. And it's not really a diet. What I do is not diet oriented, because diet means temporary. It's a lifestyle. And so, again, depending on the need, whether it's more severe or more what we call modified, which is what we're going to do for weight loss. Our first beta group will be for weight loss, so I'm really excited. We'll have some nice little giveaways in the next week or so, some downloads that you'll be able to get as well. So stay tuned for that. And if you sign up, we'll send you those early bird notices so that you'll be one of the first one on our list. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start this fish here. We can get it going. All right. So I'm going to add just a teeny bit more butter to this. Now probably I won't cook them all. I'm going to just do a demonstration because I want this to be nice and hot when we all sit down to an outdoor dinner. And again, if you keep this nice and al dente, honestly, you can prepare this, not the fish, but you can prepare your vegetables in advance. You know, keep them really al dente so that when you warm everything back up, they're just perfect. So definitely don't overcook your vegetables because you don't want to lose all of your minerals in here. So let me see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. I think that's going to be perfect. And this is going. See how quickly this is all coming together? Exciting. Tad more. We'll get that nice and hot before we put the fish in. So what I think I'm going to do with this fish is I'm going to cut this one right in half, so that it fits absolutely perfect in my pan. And since we're going to just do it for demo purposes only, that'll just be perfect. Okay. So I see the pan's just got a little sizzle to it, so we know it's hot, and it's nice that you can cook it at a very high heat, this ghee. I absolutely love it. And then you get that wonderful butter flavor. All right, it's going to cook really quickly. You'll be surprised. How are we doing with these green beans? Perfect. There's nothing worse than a limp green bean. Oh my gosh. Like, oh, throw them away. You cooked them too long. My pet peeve with that is for sure. So I've got this about a medium heat, so it's not on full blast. It's a very thin piece of fish there, so it is going to cook rather rapidly. Maybe it may even only take 3 or 4 minutes to cook the whole thing. I'm going to keep my eye on it, make sure we don't over brown it. Looks beautiful and golden and gorgeous. I'm going to be wiping down that pan before I make the sauce so we don't have any brownness to it. We've got this beautiful buttery yellow looking. Almost. So then can you grab me actually some butter out of the refrigerator? I think I'm going to add a little butter to the sauce. I love having assistants. I wish I had a sous chef all the time, but actually my husband's kind of a sous chef. We cook very nicely together and make the magic happen in the kitchen. Up on the very top shelf. On the left-hand side. I got buffalo butter, you name it, I got it. So So I like to use Kerrygold butter because it is grass-fed. Try to use as much sustainable food as I possibly can, including the fish. So you won't see me doing tuna or swordfish or, you know, larger fish. I mean, every once in a while I gotta have a piece of halibut, but other than that, I try to keep it sustainable as possible. Okay, this is looking absolutely delicious. And I go ahead and give this a little taste here. Add a little bit more salt. It's got a teeny bit of a licorice, but not too much that it's overwhelming. It's going to be nice because I'm going to set this on the bottom and then set the fish right on top of it. Oh yeah, that was perfect. I'm going to go ahead and pop these out, and I think they are going to, so really, what was that, like 4 minutes at the most? Okay. Let's go ahead and clean up this pan a bit. A little bit more. Yeah, you want to get all of the brown out, just because we don't want to have that color that will really skew our nice little sauce. All right, I'm going to put some ghee, but I'm going to also add some butter, but I'm not going to add the butter till the end because I want to just saute this garlic up so it lets out its aromatic smell and flavor. So again, you can do as garlicky as you want. I love garlic. It's great because it's antibacterial and antiviral, and it's just absolutely, everyone should be having garlic in their diet as much as possible. So I'm going to just go ahead. That was about 6 garlics, okay? And I chopped them up really fine. Now, if you wanted to add some sliced garlic to the green beans, that would be really delicious as well. And so again, when I put that ghee in there, I might, you know, sliver the garlic, throw it in there, and then go ahead and saute my green beans. So again, you want to make sure that you don't let these over brown either, because I don't want it to be crunchy. I just want it to really just have that really delicate texture throughout the whole, from start to finish. So I've got 1 lemon, and I've got the zest of a lemon as well, which is approximately about, I'd say, you know, generously, probably a good, you know, packed teaspoon, but lightly a tablespoon. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to turn the heat down really low as I can get it. And add a little bit of salt to this. I'm going to throw some pepper and some capers in there as well. Oh man, I love the smell of garlic. Okay. The 6 capers in there. I'm going to put about a teaspoon. You can put as much as you want. Okay, maybe a tad more because we have 3 people eating with us today, so. Now I'm not going to add the parsley to this because the parsley just soaks up all the butter. And I'm going to put that on at the end, so let's go ahead and turn this on again. I didn't want to overcook it, so we got it just right there. I'm going to put it on very, very low. Now you can see that the garlic and the capers kind of soaked up all of the ghee, so that's when I'm going to add the butter, is at the very end, so we can have that nice little creamy sauce to this. Now I'm going to add a fair amount of butter. I mean, that's one thing that's nice about the keto lifestyle is we get to have so much flavor because fat, not only does it hold a lot of excellent calories for your brain and for reserve, but and great fuel but it's got that amazing flavor that's so satisfying to the brain. And this is why on a keto lifestyle, you can get away with not eating so many carbohydrates, because with the protein in a moderate amount and the carbohydrate and the fats just a little bit higher, you get full and you're satiated very quickly. Blood sugar stabilized very quickly. So it's an awesome way to live. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and just take a little bit of, actually I'm not going to take a little bit, I'm probably going to take a good 2 tablespoons of this butter and just put that in there and let it melt. You know, I got a lemon here just in case I wanted a little bit more lemony, but that I've got zest in there, a whole zest of a lemon, so I think that should be perfectly fine. And then if I want to have it a little bit more ample, I would put a little bit of olive oil in here as well. So let's see what it looks like when we're done. Looking good. I'm going to taste it and see how we're doing with the salt. Pretty darn good. Very lemony. I don't need to add any more lemon. But you know what I think I will do? Lanny, can you grab me a little bit of olive oil out of my cupboard there? I'm going to add just a tad. I'm going to turn it off. Right up on that top shelf. Thank you, sweetie. About a good tablespoon of some olive oil in there. It's kind of nice because it just will cut that butter a little bit too. A lot of times I will actually melt butter and then add olive oil too to just make it a half and half. Okay, I think we got this down.
God, that smells good.
You guys are gonna love this. I'm gonna add a teeny bit more salt because I can taste it. That could use a little bit more. Michael, are you gonna be my taster today?
I will gladly be your taster.
All right.
I've never had a bad meal come out of your kitchen.
Yeah, you've been long enough to taste quite a few meals. That's for darn sure.
I pick up a lot of tips from you too.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. That's great. So I think that's absolutely perfect. So let's go ahead and plate this beautiful meal up and see how we go with it. All right. So I'm going to start by just putting some fennel on the bottom. Just kind of spread it around. Let's put the fish right on top of there. So I'd probably just serve it. Actually, I'm going to put, I'll serve it just like that. I was going to put a little bit of the sauce on that bottom one, but I can get that sauce on there easily enough. Look at that. It's glistening. It's like shiny. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of parsley. And I added a little bit of lemon juice to this just so that it didn't oxidize. Just a teeny bit of parsley to that. Look at that.
Move the leeks over to the other side so we can see the plating.
Okay.
Thank you. That way we can zoom in on that plating a little bit.
Yes. Okay. And then we are going to decorate it with some nice little green beans all around it. Look at that. And then we're going to take our beautiful little toasted buttered almonds with that little teeny bit of spice, and let's just take it right over there like that. Now, isn't this fabulous? Look at how effortlessly it was. Didn't take much time, and you have got a gourmet meal. All right, Michael, I'm going to grab you a fork and knife, and I want you to come up. Come on up. All right.
Great to see you.
It's just so nice to have friends that you've had for 35 years, and it's just so enriching because, you know, I called him and he said, oh my gosh, you've got so much to catch up on. And I said, well, come on over. Let's have a catch-up, intimate, fun, connected evening tonight. So we're going to have a good old time. All right, so I'm going to grab you a fork and knife. Look at that. What do you think? Have a look at that. Is that fantastic? What do you think, Michael?
I think it's just looking amazing.
All right, let me get you
And I know it's going to taste good. I know all those ingredients. Now, I've never used fennel. I always get it and it's real leafy. What did you do first to prepare that?
So basically, you take, the fennel comes with these kind of, giant kind of leaves, and it's kind of strange looking actually, because you go, what do I do? You're right. What do I do with these leaves? But I pretty much chop them off. If I'm going to do juice, I would save them for juicing. Otherwise, I just take both ends off, and then usually you just peel one of the layers off, kind of like an onion. Cut it right down the middle, and just cut it nice and thin. All right, I'm going to let you have at that. Go ahead, try that.
Okay.
Let's see what you think.
Well, I want to start with the veggies first.
Okay.
Great crunch. And with the nuts. Okay. Now we'll go into the rockfish. Okay. Cut a little slice.
Yeah, tell me what you think about that rockfish.
I was smelling as you're doing it. So here I've got some of the relish on top, and I'll see if I can scoop up a little bit of that fennel while I'm doing it.
Go ahead and use your fingers. We're very primal in this house, you know that. Sometimes we even eat with our fingers, we can get away with it.
My goodness. Wow. You got a little tiny bit of surprise burst in there with the capers. And the rockfish actually has a very, very light taste.
Yes.
It's not fishy.
So it's kind of like that sole that I was looking for, very light and delicate. So, you just ad-lib when you can.
And the fennel, when you smell it, it's really strong. But just lightly cooking it with the ghee, it's very light. It's like almost, it just fits in with the other vegetables perfectly. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and you have a fantastic week. Remember, right below our video today, we are going to put a link so that you can do early registration. We are going to have the best time teaching you how to have a keto lifestyle. So have a great week. Share this with your friends and family, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.